Well, what's going on, Zoms? It's about 6:26 in the evening. Actually, 6:27 in the evening. It's Thursday still, the 11th of May, 2023. We were down to Roseman, California, the area, the Greenwood, and John Viva. Me. Question. Are you going to be posting on Facebook or on social media something concerning about our borders? Well, you do know at the end of this evening, Title 42 goes off, Title 8 gets on, and then anybody else is going to have issues concerning about getting into the country or having snafus. And usually 42 is going to be catch and release, catch and release. Well, no longer it's going to be catch and release because Congress made it so. But now we've got 72. But we have also had people keep screaming throughout the years, close the damn borders. Well, Congress never got off of dead ass anyway. About 20 or 30 years, it wasn't exactly a right or proper border law that actually would protect us, theoretically. And the bad guys coming over, oh my God, they're coming over. Actually, they've been coming for decades. Are you kidding me? Sniffing one way or another. But of course, we have to have the border wall. And when old Gasback 45 was in charge, he really tried to get that border wall going. He really wanted something to put his edifice on her. With his face on her saying, I built this wall. And it was out of the money from Mexico. And he was saying that all the damn time. He probably still will. The problem is, does you know how much of the treasury we're going to have to dispel, get rid of, in order to get this edifice on the southern borders, if that's the only thing he's worried about? And for how long is the border going to be lapsing? And I'm not talking about land-wise, I'm talking about sea-wise. Because now we're talking about a border that's going from end to end. From the coastline of California all the way to the borderline of Mexico and Texas. And then, how far is it going to be extending into international waters? Didn't the schmuck ever think, or even the conservatives actually, and the Trumplicans as well, it's not exactly whatever they're going to be doing to get underneath the wall, they will. So we just don't have the technology to track them all because we keep finding new hole in walls, new tunnels, and they do. These drug dealers and bad guys are actually doing a pretty damn good job of tunneling into the United States, one way or another. Which means we need more manpower, which means we need more money for the damn thing, but if you keep cutting the budget, well then it's your problem then, isn't it, you schmucks? But now we get the idiots with the guns going to be coming out and saying, yes, now the private people are going to be shooting people at the right. Protect our borders, shoot people. While causing mass murder at the same time. But they want more guns. And they want more followers to do it. But getting back beyond the idiots who are religious nuts regarding the Second Amendment. Logistics. If anybody had written or actually had read and seen a lot of movies and various interpretations on how dystopian societies are, do you not understand that once you enclose a community of sorts, either they fight for survival or they fight each other for survival, or they're going to be working towards the end for survival, depending on your script writers and imaginations. But at this point, if you're going to have a utopian society, you're going to have a very controlled, lost your freedoms, but everything's security-wise. And everything has to be controlled. Otherwise, how the hell are they going to be able to control their damn borders and everything else? I kept thinking about several movies. One of them was Sleep or something. It's a 2005 movie, I said. Look at there. What the hell is all that there? Yes, second. Sleeper dealer. No, I'm sorry, sleep dealer. The Sleep Dealer, a long time ago, was a movie that came out in 2008. This particular film was regarding a dystopian future. We had the border. We had armed guards. We had drones protecting the area. We had scanners up like crazy. And then we had immigrants coming through to various corporations trying to get immigration help because sure as hell the United States people weren't going to do the damn shit. And hooked up cybernetically into computer programs to work mechanisms. Building, constructing the great America. What scared the hell out of me is seeing all these damn wall mounts and fortresses being built. Not to mention watching all those damn films I've seen and reading a few books concerning about dystopians and how walls were built around cities. You might have heard the comic book series that British did a long time ago and turned out to be a cult classic to this day. Judge Dredd. Cursed Earth was Earth at one time. It was paradise until we actually had humans screwing up. And then the environment went all to hell in a handbasket. There was resource war, and afterwards, I guess, everything else just had to be compiled into different cities left and right because the ground was too damn toxic for people to live on. How about these? And everything within the walls had to be controlled. Food, air, water, law. You had a police force that was judge, jury, and executioner. You had no freedom. Oh, limited freedom if you could get it. If you were living in the posh areas, but everything else was falling to pieces because they couldn't keep things together. Everything else was falling to pieces. There are two movies about that one. Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Cobain. Urban, I think. Urban was doing a later version of Dredd. More realistic, closer to our technology these days. Dredd was a lot more futuristic, what the books would tell us. But it was still telling us a dystopian future about how a city was being run by cops. It became judge, jury, and executioners. The same solutions we have problems right now. Well, you want to get into another movie? How about Escape from Los Angeles? But prior to that, Escape from New York, where the United States police force was formed, and you have a president so damn paranoid like crazy. And then he had his own escape pod and an Air Force One jet. Kind of stuff that happened to their damn jet. Pod lands in New York, and they're sending a crazy person called Plissken, Snake Plissken, go in there to rescue them. Kurt Russell. But in that time, you had a United States police force. And they walled up the Manhattan Island with all the criminals that the moral and just United States, they couldn't stand those kind of people. Morally corrupt, not following what we tell them. You're being put into Manhattan Island. Well, then you had a similar premise concerning about Escape from Los Angeles. Except in this time you follow the beginning of it. Just go to YouTube for this one. And you would see that there was a crazy president saying, Los Angeles is to blame for everything. Well, it's Sodom and Gomorrah. It must be destroyed by... And he mentions the things what's happening with earthquakes and floods, tidal waves, and everything else like that. You had to suspend doubt on that one. how the disaster started out. But then portions of Southern California got flooded out. We left an island, and guess what we had surrounding the island? Armed borders. I mean, completely with walls and machine gun mounds and lights and everything else, and sensors and missile launchers and God knows what else. And submarine patrols to keep the people out, not to mention the area being mined. That was also a skip for New York as well. Except for a skip for New York, it's supposed to be surrounded because the outskirts surrounding the Manhattan Island of Skipper, New York was all walls with armed posts and machine guns and military. Same thing with Los Angeles, except the coastline was bordered. Kind of reminded me of something about how Trump was talking about how the wall, we need the wall, we need the wall, we need the wall. Are we going to be getting to that point? I mean, how much and what kind of a wall do we actually need for this damn shit? And my question is, when they keep talking about the wall, we all assume it's for the southern border. But if they're going to be talking about borders, plural with an S, plural with an S, this means various territories of the United States, which means Hawaii, bordered up all over the damn place, unless we just have one huge border around the islands here and only allow shipping or flights that we want allowed in there. Otherwise, they're going to be blasted out of the sky. How about that one? Of course, how would the natives deal with tourism during that time? And how would the tourist industries and the people living over there or dealing with the tourist industries can deal with that one? And what about the economy of Hawaii? There's Alaska. There's Alaska. Alaska used to be Russian territory until the United States bought it. So for a huge chunk, hanging right up the end of Canada, and damn near part of Russia. So we have this weird ass shaped island with a chain, a volcanic chain, stretching from coast to nearly coast. And in this area, we do have rough weather in that area. Constantly. Hang on one particular second. I am going to put you on a constant recording here. You get to watch mode more. Hold on. Alright. I'm getting it. Alright. Let it come off a little bit, and they'll be able to get some food. Alright. 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 Put this off. We got hot water to use. Probably for my own cooking and heating at this point. Oh. Like a short way. Without the cane. Longer distances, forget it. Okay, here we go. He's back. Okay, so we have Alaska. We have fishing. We have tourism. We have cruises. We have people hiking throughout the great rough areas of Alaska. How do we put a border on this one? If we're going to be putting borders up, how do we do this one? And are we including Canada into the border? No, we're not going to include Canada. To the Canadian Prime Minister who actually sees this video here, apparently some of us United States citizens out there want borders. They want barricaded borders. They want the walls. So I'm going to have to disappoint the current Canadian Prime Minister and the government system here. As a citizen of the United States government here, who is not officially sanctioned to make any announcements or anything else like that, but I'm going to say it anyway. Your country will be boarded up. Extending from Washington, state of, all the way to our New England states. The Great Lakes will be no more. We have decided that we are going to put up our borders right along the Great Lakes as well. We'll probably charge you for that one there too. We're going to be charging you a great deal of money on that one. We're going to bankrupt your government and our government at the same time. And we're going to be separating you from Alaska physically by putting more borders up there. In fact, Alaska will no longer be connected in any way, shape, or form to the great country of Canada, and it'll be boarded up everywhere. It'll be an isolated state. To the U.S. Virgin Islands, we're going to border you guys up left and right. To the U.S. territories, you're also going to be boarded up. You're going to be made isolated. You will no longer have the usual trade. We will stifle and stifle and stop all trade altogether. We want our borders. And now, as we did the northern, now we come to the southern border. And instead of, wait for this one, it gets better, it gets better, it gets better. We're not going to be exactly bordering up the southern area and extending the borders out. No. What we're going to be doing, we're going to be bordering up our own coastlines. Oh yeah, starting from the southern areas. And then we work our way to the west coast, all the way up to Canada. We link up with the border wall over there. And then we have the other one going up to the Gulf of Mexico, surrounding the coastlines, or going through the waters anyway, to Florida. And then we isolate Florida from everything else. Anyway, I got to the eastern wall. You want your borders? Well, guess what? The United States of America declares bankruptcy. We will be breaking the Fourth Amendment. We will not be paying our creditors now or forever. We'll be constantly sending everybody the bill. You will pay for our borders, because you haven't stopped the flow of people going into our sacred and sanctified and Christian nation of the United States of Christianity. Anybody else who isn't part of Christianity, well, I'm sorry, but there may not be a place for you. See, you're them. You're them. You're not us. You're not part of us. We believe in the freedom and liberties that we have within our old city here. But we're building every damn country. Every country, every sovereignty. For putting up those damn border walls. Because you folks had the goal of visiting us, of trying to live in our country, of trying to work in the country. How dare you? We have to do the shit ourselves now. We have to get our fat, lazy asses and our fat, lazy citizens to work now. We're going to modify the United States Constitution and the amendment process. We're going to be checking out every trade deal we ever had, modifying them, tearing apart, and making new trade deals. We're constantly going to be billing you for anything and everything. And we're going to have to deal with what we've got right now as it is. We still got our states, but we're not quite sure if the states are going to be with us or not. There was rumor that Texas still wanted to separate. Still. Ever since the Civil War, they've been actually doing that. Since we actually had the Confederacy versus the Union. Apparently we're going to have that kind of a problem here too. We need subdivisions. We need to play Russia's music. Subdivisions regarding this. Let me look it up on here. Yes. Subdivisions. What, not a Rush fan? I know that's a Canadian group. Wait. I'm not supposed to play Canadian music? What, they got past Cinco de Mayo? I can't play that? Well, there's got to be some kind of music out there. How about Japan or Shirley? They're European, not American? Okay. What else can we play? We got to do this right. We have to make sure that we, the Republicans, have to do this because we believe in a fictitious character of his lordship, of the orange gas bag number 45, and Hysteria, and everybody else who follows him. And of course, we must also have another civil war that splits our country up into chunks left and right. We must have that. We must have subdivisions. I must go to a Canadian music group to make sure we got the atmosphere correct on this one. Let's just say, well, this looks, I'm not quite sure. Does this work? I don't think this works. No, that's a commercial on YouTube. No, this one's more appropriate for this. Listen. Listen. I got the volume. Is John Carpenter American? I think that's the most appropriate music we can have for a walled-up country, for walled-up states, and isolated and subdivided. And while we cannot put into film of what that would look like, reflect upon some of the music. And that was from the artist John Carpenter, who did it for 1996 originally for Escape from New York, and then modified for Escape from Los Angeles. But it should have been a lot more depressing as hell. It should have been. Because we sure as hell are contemplating more security at the border. And yeah, we do need security at the border. But how far are we going to be going crazy with the damn border gates, with the fences, and everything else going crazy? We're going to turn the United States of America, a democratic country, a Republican representative democracy. Representative. Now we're going to be changing it into an authoritative future. As in the realm of the Escape series, where in the second movie the president was elected for life, and your local constabulary is now part of the United States police force, hell-bent on judging your morality. But we need our border to make us feel secure. Going back to what I was saying originally concerning about the southern border, just how far do we extend it? Because if these people understand anything, we're still open season regarding borders. We can extend it all the way from the coastline of Texas and Mexico's borders to California without, well, probably will bankrupting the United States country for that. We'll be bankrupting us, period. We're not there. And people will find a way to go around the border to our coastlines. So are we going to be arming up with a lot of flotilla? Are we going to be putting out more armed boats with armed people? Are we going to be including in this armed guards, a nationalized militia of its own self? Not the local militia idiots. I'm talking about government-sanctioned killings to protect our borders. Are we going to be doing the same damn thing on our borders as well? Hell, if it does work for Mexico, maybe we can do it for Canada. We'll keep the Canadians on their side, and they'll kick out every damn American they've got in their country. Back to us. They won't accept anybody else coming from Mexico because they're going to have to fly them from Mexico all the way over to Canada. We won't get them through. We won't truck them. We won't bus them. We won't do a damn thing. We'll just wall ourselves up. And so I was trying to explain, how far will the walls go? Do we really need to wall up our coastlines? We won't be able to see sunsets and sunrises along our coastline. We won't be cruising as much. I think we'll devastate the cruising industry unless they're going to be going to different countries and operating out of there. So much for that economy. And then there's also the entertainment value, but not to mention food production, agricultural, manual labor that we're going to be losing out on. My God, we have to train our own lazy people for work. Hell, we're already putting some kids to work right now as it is, younger kids. Some states are actually putting those kind of laws out there. Bypassing federal child safety laws just to get some additional butts out there. Just to satisfy the big donors. So I guess we're really living in a dystopian society. We're already listening to Fox left and right. They're trying to tell us what to do. Then they kind of know why. They expelled one guy out, but the others are still bullshitting away. They're not so quite sure about the orange gas bag, but everybody else related to him, in one form or fashion. They're still there bouncing off. Now we got him in the government, state controlled and federal controlled. So we no longer have the United States of America. We have the dystopia of America. Or is it called the United States of Dystopia? USD. So much for the acronyms for the Department of Ag. No, we're no longer USD, Joyce. We're dystopians. We're no longer Americans. We live in lies, fictions. We live in someone else's bullshit. Welcome to your life. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have a life. The maggots and the droplets have already made sure of that. We have to live in fear. So now we have to live in divided. We have to live in divided states. We have to live in divided communities, cities, housing complex. We need walls all over the damn place. We need to live in a massive, enclosed community that lives nothing but walls and lives without everything else. You're worried about open borders. You're already living in the borders and you don't even realize it. And you're not even seeing the bigger picture. But you will eventually. And then you will freak and you'll have a connection fit. And you'll blame everybody else for your own fear and phobias. You know what happened at the end of the movie of Escape from Los Angeles, did you? The hero, played by Kurt Russell, Snake Plissken, switched out a program and had something installed where, actually, I don't get tape. Escape from New York. No, this was actually something about the tourist industry of the island, where all these newcomers coming in because they weren't moral enough for the sanctimonious assholes and hypocritical bastards, twits and twerps. But no, the button was pushed, and then everything died. The United States depowered by electromagnetic energy. Everything electronics died. Welcome to the new world.